Oh, oh, oh. Oh. Hallo, hallo. Ich melde mich hier aus einem 7. Weltland, Germany. Die Verbindung ist ganz schlecht. Ich habe mittelmäßig wichtige Informationen. Ich hoffe, man kann mich hören. Nein, danke. Boah, Alter, ich schwöre dir, ich habe alles ausgestellt, was im Hintergrund läuft und da ist trotzdem noch was. Es ist, Alter, ihr müsst einem auf den Sack gehen. Ihr müsst. Oh. HP Smart. Als ob irgendjemand das updatet, Digga. HP Smart. Ich hab's ausgestellt. Kommt trotzdem. Oh. Der Grad zwischen ich härte mich für die Kälte ab, komplett töricht und geistesbeschränkt und hangeln ist sehr schmal. Wo waren wir stehen geblieben? It's all about hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip. It's all about. Also wenn also Hip-Hop das einzige oder neben der Anarchie das einzige Feld ist, wo unzählige Menschen, Teilnehmer, so, kann man ja mal sich überlegen, boah, ey, ich sehe ziemlich beschissen aus. Muss man das festhalten. Ich früh so in den Spiegel aussehe, erschrecke ich mich immer. Boah, jetzt ist rot, Digga. Wo unzählige Teilnehmer sich als die Nummer preisgeben können, ausgeben können und es auch so ausleben, dass sie es selber glauben, kann man sich als die Nummer 1 ausgeben. Also würde man es jetzt als Sportmannschaft oder als Formation auf einem Schlachtfeld sehen, würde meiner Meinung nach Hip-Hop aussehen wie ein Dreieck. Und wenn es ein Schlachtfeld ist, wäre die Nummer 1 hinten und die unterste Reihe vorne. Und bei einem Sportevent wäre die Nummer 1 vorne und die hinterste Reihe hinten quasi. Würde man das zum Beispiel bei Basketball machen, wäre vorne natürlich ganz klar, ohne jeglichen Zweifel, wie ich sage, und ich finde krass, wenn es Leute gibt, die was anderes sagen, ist natürlich Michael Jordan. Wenn es immer Leute gibt, die irgendjemanden vor Michael Jordan setzen müssen, dann denke ich mir immer, ihr habt schon lange kein Video mehr gesehen, wo Michael Jordan spielt. Weil da ist es ähnlich wie bei meinem letzten Vergleich mit dem Wu-Tang Clan. Wenn du ein Video von Michael Jordan siehst und ein Video jetzt zum Beispiel von irgendjemand anderen, der halt jetzt angeblich doch die Nummer 1 ist, der noch besser ist, dann muss Michael Jordan nicht treffen und er ist besser. Und das Video sieht krasser aus. Er muss den Korb nicht treffen und ist besser. Weil er einfach nur dafür scheinbar das Licht der Welt erblickt hat. Und bei Hip-Hop ist es natürlich ganz klar, ob Leuten das gefällt oder nicht. Leshane Parish Crooks, a.k.a. MC New York, a.k.a. Tupac Shakur. Und da kann man auch keinen davor setzen. Alles andere wäre lächerlich. Wenn jetzt Leute sagen, ja, aber Cool Mo D oder Grandmaster Flash oder ich weiß nicht, irgendjemand, wer vor ihm, wäre genauso, als würde man sagen, Julius Caesar ist nicht der krasseste Caesar, es ist der Caesar davor. Das kann sein, dass er davor kam und ihm alles gezeigt hat, was er macht, aber deswegen ist er trotzdem nicht Julius Caesar. Deswegen ist Tupac Shakur auf jeden Fall die Nummer 1 und da hinten dran, das ist halt dann so, vorne ist eine 1, hinten dran sind 2. Und immer in den Zwischenräumen steht dann der nächste. Das heißt hinten dann 3 und dann 4. Und wer auf Platz 2 und 3 ist, weiß ich nicht. Aber auf Platz 1 ist auf jeden Fall Tupac Shakur. Und ja, wenn wir jetzt diese ganzen Nummer 1 noch mit in das Bild bringen wollen, dann passen die natürlich nicht in dieses Dreieck. Weil die sagen ja, sie sind die Nummer 1, das heißt, die setzen sich vor Tupac Shakur. Und dann wird es quasi aussehen wie ein Pause-Play-Knopf. Das heißt, ein Dreieck mit vorne so einer Frontline noch vorne dran. Und wer ist da Teil von dieser Frontline? Ganz klar. Alle Rapper mit dem Namen Lil davor. Die sind in dieser Frontline und noch ein paar andere, aber hauptsächlich besteht diese Frontline aus Rappern, die Lil in ihrem Namen haben. Und ich zum Beispiel, ich würde behaupten, ich bin Nummer 26. Und ich gucke so ungefähr auf die 21 oder die 19, so müsste es dann sein. Ich bin die Nummer 26. Vor mir ist The RZA auf der Nummer 25. Nach mir ist auf der 27 nach mir ist Lil Zane. Obwohl er Lil heißt. Wahrscheinlich ist Lil Zane auch. TQ ist nach mir. Und danach auf der 28 ist Talib Kweli. Und auf der 29 ist Gary. Gary B. Ja, und so wandert diese Formation fröhlich durch das Hip-Hop-Universum und erfreut sich seiner Existenz. Hätten wir das also auch wieder geklärt. The kid did not have much head start, Teasel was figuring, as he and his men pressed forward through the trees and underbrush after the dogs. The kid had broken out of jail at 6:30. It had got dark at 8:30, and he could not have gone far in these hills at night, an hour possibly two all told. He would have started with the sun, the same as themselves, so that made him altogether just 4 hours ahead. But other things considered, he was probably only 2 and maybe even less. He was naked, and that would slow him down. He didn't know this country, so he would now and then head up steep gullies and into hollows that did not have an exit, and that would lose him more time coming out to find another way. Plus he had no food, and that would tire him, slow him more, narrow the distance. Less than 2 hours ahead of us for certain, Orwell said. He can't be more than 1. Look at these dogs. His scent is so fresh, they don't even have to nose the ground. Orwell was in front of Teasel and the others, racing with the dogs, his arm taut like an extension of their master leash he held. And Teasel was climbing, scrambling through bushes, trying to keep up with him. In a way, it was funny, a 72-year-old man setting the pace, running them all into the ground. But then Orwell jogged 5 miles each morning, smoked only 4 cigarettes a day and never drank, while he himself smoked a pack and a half of cigarettes, drank beer by the 6-pack and had not exercised in years. It was something just to be able to keep pace with Orwell as much as he was. He was breathing so deeply and rapidly that his lungs were burning. He had a stab of shin splints in his legs. But at least he was not running as awkwardly as at the start. He had been a boxer in the Marines, and they had taught him how to run to train. His body was long out of practice, though, and he was having to learn over again a smooth, quick, comfortable stride, leaning a little forward, letting the pull of his body force his legs to push him on so he would not fall. Gradually he was getting it, running faster, easier, his pain diminishing, a pleasure of exertion swelling up inside him. He had last felt like this 5 years ago, when he came back from Louisville as Madison's new police chief. The town had not changed much, yet it had all looked different. The old brick house he had grown up in, the tree in his backyard where his father had rigged the swing, the gravestones of his parents. In the years he had been away, his memory of them had gone flat and colorless as black and white photographs. But now they had length and depth. And they were green and brown and red, and the tombstones purple marble. He had not believed seeing the graves again would depress his return that greatly. The baby girl, a fetus really in a plastic bag by his mother's feet in a coffin. Both bodies long since corrupted into dust, all because she was a Catholic. The fetus had been poisoning her. The church had refused an abortion, so of course she had obeyed and died, and the baby with her. That had been when he was 10, and he had not understood why his father had stopped going to church after that. His father trying to be a mother as well, then showing him about guns and fish, how to darn his own socks and cook for himself, how to clean house and wash clothes, make him independent, almost as if the man had foreseen his gunshot death in the woods 3 years later. Then Orwell to raise him, then Korea and Louisville, and then at age 35 he was home again. Except that it was no more home, just a place where he had grown up,
And that first day back to the once familiar place only made him realize that he had already lived close to half his life. He was sorry he had come. Almost phoned Louisville to see if he could return to work there. Finally, just because it closed, he went to real estate office, and that night he and an agent set out to look at the places for sale or rent. But all the houses and apartments he saw were still being lived in, and he could not see himself alone in any of them. The agent gave him a look of listings with photographs to study before he slept, and flipping through it in his small hotel room, he came upon the place he needed. Summer camp house in the hills near town with a stream in front, a wooden bridge, and a thick slope of trees in the back. The windows were smashed, the roof sagged, and the front porch was collapsed. The paint was chipped and peeling, the shutters were split and dangling. The next morning it was his, and in the days and nights and weeks to come it was never busier. From 8 to 5 he organized his force, interviewing the men already on the job, firing those who did not want to go nights to the shooting range to the PlayStation night school. Hiring men who did not mind extra duty, throwing out obsolete equipment and buying new, streamlining the cluttered operation that his predecessors had left when he died on the front steps of a heart attack. Then, from 5 until he dropped to sleep, he worked on the house, roofing it, putting new glass in the windows and caulking them, building a new porch, painting it all rust colored to blend with the green of the trees. The bad wood that he stripped from the roof and the porch he used for fire in the yard every night. When he sat by it, cooking, eating chili con carne, steak and baked potatoes or hamburgers. Food had never tasted better. Nor had he slept sounder or his body felt greater. The calluses on his hands making him proud. The stiffness in his legs and arms turning to strength and smooth moving ease. For 3 months he was like that. And then the job on the house was done. And for a time he found small things to fix. But then there were nights with nothing to do. And he went out for a beer, or else he stayed longer at the shooting range, or else he went home to watch television and drink beer. Then he got married, and now that was ended, and racing to the trees out into the grass, breath rasping, sweat stinging, he felt so good that he wondered why he had ever stopped taking care of himself. The dogs were yelping ahead, and Over's long legs were stretching to stay with them. The deputies were trying to keep up with Diesel, and he was trying to keep up with Over. And there was a moment as he raced across the grass, the sun bright and hot on him, his arms and legs in swift, steady rhythm, when he felt he could go on forever. Abruptly, Orwell surged farther ahead, and Cecil could not match his speed anymore. His legs grew heavy. The good feeling drained from him. Slow down, Orwell. But Orwell stayed right on, going with the dogs.